The new version 2 of the Forex Smart Tools trade log now allows you to import comments and magic numbers from your MT4 statements. This is really great if you're a trader who uses expert advisors. Your expert advisor will probably generate a magic number, such as we see here, that identifies which EA it is. And if you are using many EAs at the same time, it's hard to separate them out if you don't have the trade log to do this for you. So in this video, we'll show you how to do this. Many EAs also generate comments or allow you to create your own comments. And even if you don't use an EA, you may be using comments to help you identify which trade, which strategy, which leg of a trade you're using, which is a great idea, by the way. And so this will be of relevance to you as well. The first step is to open your trade log and create custom parameters which will hold these bits of information. So I'm clicking on Add, and it gives me a dialog box in which I can name my custom parameter. So I'm going to call that comment, and I'm going to call it type text, because it'll hold various alphanumeric characters in it. And then I'm just going to write a little note to myself. This will hold the comment field from the MT4 statement. So I create that. And then I'm going to create another custom parameter by clicking Add again. And for the magic number, I'm going to create it of type number. And I'm again going to make a little note from my MT4 statements EAs. One more step that I want to do is I want to make sure that I turn those both on so that they are visible. This is an important step. So here I am, I'm turning on comment and I'm turning on magic number. Now the next step is to look at my MT4 statement. So here's an MT4 platform, and you can see here that we're seeing a comment. If you do not see your comments, make sure that you right click and make sure that the little check mark next to comment is turned on. See, if you turn it off, then comments are not visible. If you don't see your comment in your report that you create to import into the trade log, if you don't see comments, it's because you haven't turned them on in your MT4 platform before you generated that report. Now our next step will be to import the broker report. And of course, this is only possible with the Pro version of the trade log. So I found my statement and I click Open, and I'm presented with the dialog box for the import wizard. So you can see right now, magic number is not being mapped to any import field. So I begin by clicking that, and it presents me a dialog box called Select Field, which corresponds to the parameters that I've created and turned on in my trade log. So I'm going to click magic number, and that looks just right. And I repeat this with that. So I'm going to map comment to comment, and then I'm going to continue. So here are all my trades. If I scroll to the right, you can see that magic number and comment are ready to be imported into my trade log. And at the time of this import, I also had a few open trades. You notice I have two tabs up at the top now, closed trades and open trades. And these open trades also have magic numbers and comments. So I go ahead and click Import. And now we see that our import has been completed. Now I have my comments and my magic numbers. Of course, I can just click on the column at the top to sort them into their corresponding EAs. But what if I wanted to look at each A individually? How would I organize that? Well, let's go on and do that. I'm going to go back to my setup page and make sure that I turn on strategy, and I'm going to make sure that I have a corresponding strategy name for each of my EAs. Something like that. Of course, if these are your EAs or you're working with particular EAs that you've bought, you probably will be giving them specific names. I'm just giving them generic names for this demonstration. So I have my strategies picked out. Now I'm going to go back to analysis, and I'm going to create a new analysis preset. Naturally, you can call this anything you want. I'm calling it EA 101. I'm going to pick just the broker that I'm analyzing in this case. So sample broker. And now I'm going to click on magic number. And I get this dialog because it's a number, it's looking for numbers. So I'm going to say greater than or equal to 1001 and less than or equal to 1002. I'm going to click save, and I'm going to make sure that my magic field number is visible, and I'm going to make sure that I turn on my strategy field so I can see that as well. And now out of all those 392 or some odd trades, it's picked out just these 12 that particular EA was used with. Now, because I'm using the Pro version of the trade log, I can click Batch right here. And a dialog comes up and says, what do you want to batch edit? Select your parameter. So I'm going to click Strategy. And I want to say all of these trades that I've pre-selected here will be EA1. And it says, have you backed up your data? Because this is going to change it. And I say, yes, I have. Please apply. There they are. So now I could go in and do that with my next strategy. I'll go back to my last import where all of my trades are visible. And I see that my next strategy, I'll go ahead and jump down to this 32,740. And I can either create a new one for 32,740, or I can just revise that last one that I created. And in this case, I'll be saying I want a number that's 32,740 up to 32,741. And I can just rename that there, but the name is not critical. That's just for your own ease. And now I have all of my trades that were using 32,740, 116 trades. I can easily go to Batch. And again, I pick my strategy, and this time I'm going to put them under EA3. And there we go. So going back to look at all the trades that we brought in that last import, I've gone ahead and sorted several of them into specific strategies, and I could go through and complete this process, but I thought that was enough to give you the idea. I've put some into 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and you would just go ahead and do the same process with the rest of them, sorting them into their respective strategies. Now, what's the value of this? Well, now we can go to Summary, and we're looking at that same broker, and we can see at a glance right here how well each of those strategies that we pre-selected did relative to each other. Now, this is tremendous and powerful information. In a demo account or in a live account that I've been using, let's say, a dozen different EAs, how am I going to break it out and keep track of how well each one is done relative to the others? It's very difficult, if not impossible. It would take hours and hours of work. But as you can see, we can do this very quickly and easily with the trade log. And the ones that I have not yet sorted are now all thrown into this first group called None. Of course, if I took a few more minutes and went through and sorted each one into their respective strategy names, they would all appear and I would see their results. Now that I've done that, I can also go and click on any one of them. And that takes me back to the analysis page where I'm just looking at the results of that specific strategy. I can click on the icon for generating an equity curve and be able to, at a glance, to see how well it did. So this was a strategy that obviously did very well for a number of trades and then had some problems. So the visual results of being able to see just how well one particular EA does isolated in the group is tremendously powerful. And of course, with each one of these, I can click on its individual row and include screenshots and see comments and make additional notes and all that good stuff that the trade log makes so easy and useful to us. So this wraps up being able to use the import of magic numbers and comments. And as a side note, most MT4 statements will also allow you to see your take profit and stop loss. Now, of course, you may have changed these from the time that you initially put on the trade, so keep that in mind. If you move your stop loss to break even, or if you move your stop loss to lock in profit, the stop loss that is shown is not your original stop loss that you began the trade with. It will be the stop loss as of the time that you exited the trade. So it may not be all that useful to you in terms of calculating your initial risk, but if you don't move your stop loss or take profit, these may be useful for you as well. And you can map those just as we've mapped comments by creating custom parameters in your trade log for these values as well. So for instance, here I'm saying I'm going to create a custom parameter for take profit, and that will be a number, and I can make my comment as imported from my MT4 statement or whatever you like. And by virtue of having created that, then you can map that to the TP value that you see on your statement as you begin the import process. Trade smarter, not harder.